our network crosses cultural boundaries, political boundaries, geographic boundaries, religious boundaries, and brings people together from around the world via the postal system through their artwork and expressions. Mail art takes many forms. There can be audio cassettes, videos, graphics, paintings, rubber stamp art, collages, montages, you name it. And as long as you send it through the mail, it's mail art. And there are mail art shows around the world. Our particular show and network is called Images of Global Peace. And we use a very broad definition of peace for our network. We don't mean global peace as in no war. That's one aspect of what we're saying. We also mean inner peace, peace with the environment, peace and harmony among human beings. So basically, in Images of Global Peace, whatever it means to you is what it means to us for our expression. Here we have an expression of global peace. This is a documentation from another mail art show where the artist designed stamps, not rubber stamps, but designed stamps and send them out around the world. You can see the square and round images. Well, the center was blank when they were sent out, and they were networked. Very, you know, if I got a copy of this, I would share it with my friends, etc., etc., etc. And what came back were images within these stamps, all put together and then passed out at Peace Park, where during the anniversary of the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Male artists mess with technology from time to time, as well as two-dimensional works, three-dimensional works, what have you. Here we have the pan scan, which is a computer teleconference for male artists to share their shows and where you can send these things, addresses, and the like. This particular piece we're seeing here came from Spain. It definitely got tore up in customs. And about 3 months after we got the piece, actually, just as we were hanging the show, we noticed that if this particular piece was moved in the light, that you could see there's a photographic plate attached. Very interesting. This article is about flags for peace, and 500 people made their own individual personal flags, in which they sent them to Japan, and they were all sewn together into a huge flag for peace, made up of the individual flags of 500 people. It was also on display at Peace Park, commemorating Hiroshima. Here's a work from Shozo Shimamoto, where he has a project called Networking for Head, or the Head for Global Peace. They've made a plaster cast of Shozo's head, sent it around the world with various artists adding various little artworks, adding some paint or stickers or what have you, and then sent them back, and they were all on display. The Head for Peace. There's all different themes: the environment, peace, inner peace, music making, cassette culture, noise. When it comes to mail art, there's really no boundaries. If you want to have a show on how to use recycled cans, by all means, go for it. Here's a piece that came in from Israel. It's in multiple languages. You can see the peace dove and the peace sign. Interesting stuff. Here's a little zine. A zine it's like a magazine, but it's not meant for a huge audience. It's for a select audience. And this is a little zine that came in on the Tartu Shadows project. John Held Jr. went into the Soviet Union and participated in Shadows. We've actually got a clip of that at the end of the show. Here we have more rubber stamps. This is rubber stamp art from A1 waste paper in England. And we have actually cut these stamps up, Xeroxed them, cut them, colored them, and put them on our envelopes and sent them around. Mail art is a very sharing medium. Here's some paintings from Finland, Helsinki, Finland. And some of them are actually portions of paintings. Many artists will take their paintings and cut them into sections, and then send the sections to various shows, forming a collective whole. Now, here's a piece from the old Soviet Union. where an artist used carbon paper for his canvas, and I'm not sure exactly. Really, I'm not sure at all what the translation would be from this used carbon paper. It wouldn't surprise me that the KGB had a file on it, and/or the CIA. Many of the packages are inspected when going from country to country. In fact, we published a 72-page microzine, or magazine on microfiche, documenting the show with names and addresses and examples of the artwork and graphics and poetry and writing that came in, and it took up to 6 months for them to get overseas, actually. A normal letter taking a few weeks, and we received correspondence back that it actually took several months for many of these microfiche to make it overseas. Cards on behalf of the environment, each card depicting a different eco system. The artist hand-bordered the cards as well as the envelopes. Very nice. This image is a global piece, was our logo, actually, from the first cards that went out, the first batch. Art Nouveau. Art Nouveau. Here we have a series of paintings depicting nuclear explosions over the capitals of the world. Art Nouveau is a project whereby these paintings are actually touring the capitals of the world, and the artist from Canada has made a series of postcards to announce the show and to spread the word. And when you look at these, they certainly are very powerful in their message. It doesn't take CNN to interpret what this person's trying to express and then sharing that with us. Now, Clemente Padin of Uruguay does some very, very political artwork, dealing with the corporate state, dealing with the environment, dealing with hunger. And you can see here, Clemente is kind of taking a slight jab at the mail art genre or medium in and of itself. Mail art is not sufficient. Mail art networking is about real people expressing themselves and expressing their inner feelings and beliefs, or it provides a forum for people to share their expression. We've had poetry, short stories, prose, paintings, rubber stamps, cassettes, videotapes. This is a piece by the Cracker Jack Kid, a network prayer for peace, and it's written actually on hand-pressed paper. The Cracker Jack Kid, for various projects, has been known to collect items of clothing, for instance, and shredding them up, and then hand-pressing them into paper and sending them out as artworks. It's very interesting approach.
Is a very radical act.
Here we've got Plague of the Art Zombies, where the artist actually created a series of stamps similar to postage stamps that could be put on envelopes or letters or what have you. Here we've got a poster. There are some of the artists will do posters in addition to three-dimensional works, two-dimensional works, real-time artworks will come in. This piece was very moving. It's actually, when we back off a little bit, you'll see that this book is one book of 100 books, each book with 1,000 birds, and together the books would equal 100,000 birds, representing the number of birds killed by the Exxon Valdez spill in Alaska at Prince William Sound. Here's Joe. He's one of the national champion soccer players from Sangamon State University, and he made a peace wheel out of returned postage cards. We sent out 1,000 cards notifying people about the show, and some of them that returned, Joe got the idea to make a peace wheel, each individual part coming from around the world, returning to us. Kind of very interesting, and we'll send that to your show as well. If you're putting on a show, Images of Global Peace would be happy to participate. This piece is from Italy, very colorful. Here's a piece from Poland. This is computer-generated art printed on a computer printer. Again, people use all forms of media, all forms of expression. Not everything comes in English. There's many languages that participate. Again, Images of Global Peace transcends cultural boundaries, transcends political, geographic, anything that separates human beings can be transgressed through mail art. This particular show, the Images of Global Peace show, was on display at Sangamon State University in Springfield, Illinois, for about a month, and then it moved over to the state capitol main rotunda, and was on display there. 2,000 people a day starting their tours of the state capitol at the Images of Global Peace show. There's no censorship. Whatever's sent in is displayed. One piece might be frivolous to one person, but have great significance to another. In Images of Global Peace and in mail art in general, we do not judge one person's work from another. This particular piece is kind of a, it's about the Shadows. The Shadows Project is involved, but it also covers the Barbie culture, or the culture that's perpetuated by the mass media, that there's one way to be, one way to look, be like Ken and Barbie and be happy. Anyway, it says, Barbie radiates during a performance at Hiroshima. And with the Shadows images involved. I'll talk about Shadows a little bit later. Here you see the envelopes that the artworks come in, or the graphics, or what have you. They're decorated as well, bringing the postal service workers into the Mail Art Network. It's not just the folks that view the show, it's not just the folks that make them, but the postal workers are involved too. I'm sure they get a kick out of some of the objects that come through. There are many ways to get involved in mail art. Usually, one way of getting in anyway is to develop a mailing list, to get a list of names of artists who participate in mail art and come up with a theme, and then send a notice out. Design a creative expression on your own and send a notice out, and to however many artists you want, and within a couple weeks you'll start getting artworks in, and to host a mail art show. This particular piece is a call from Yugoslavia. Prior to the breakdown in Yugoslavia, Romania had fallen, the Romanian regime had fallen, and this is a call for art supplies and food to help starving artists, both starving for food and for means of expression. And we helped out and sent along some care packages. There's many different things that come through. This particular piece is from the old Soviet Union prior to its collapse. And you can kind of sense what this person is expressing with his artwork. It doesn't really need much to be said. You can see it's a photograph and some construction paper as far as medium, but it's pretty clear what this individual is expressing. Here's a piece from Czechoslovakia. This piece also, I feel, shows at least some repression or without getting into really a philosophical analysis, very strong statement. Here's a piece that came in from Springfield. Again, any medium, no one is judged any better than the other. Whatever is sent in is displayed. We don't censor, we don't judge. Here's our final piece. This is an envelope, actually, that came in. I have not found a stamp on this envelope yet. Somehow it slipped through. But stay tuned, folks. We've got more coming on the history of mail art. We've got more music coming. We've got Randy Mapp discussing the small press. And stay tuned. We've got a wonderful show for you, folks.